Howdy guys, and welcome back to the channel. Ruckus here with another tank review style video. We are looking at two vehicles lumped into one video today, very similar machines to one another. These are the British tank destroyers, the AT8 at tier 6 and the AT7 at tier 7. I am not a fan of these things. They are rough, very tough to play. So what we're going to do is have a brief look at some of the key features of these two tank destroyers. Not going to look too much at the stats, but we'll have a look at the armor profile because that is important and will dictate how they should be played. And then of course we'll get into some gameplay. At tier 6 we've got the AT8, which follows on from the AT2 at tier 5, which was known for its amazingly trollish frontal armor. 203mm at tier 5 is incredible. Very poor top speed though, 20 km per hour, poor powder weight, and a fairly underwhelming little 6-pounder pop gun, which had a good rate of fire but very low alpha damage. The AT8 maintains that very poor mobility, still got that 20 km per hour top speed. The armor is at least on paper the same as the AT2 at 203mm of frontal and 101mm all around the sides and back. But the gun is an upgrade to a much better performing 17-pounder, which has a very good rate of fire and accuracy, but again low alpha damage, so it's definitely not a peek-a-boom gun. You've got to catch your enemies out in the open, keep them tracked and in position to allow the damage to add up. Once you start playing this thing though, you quickly realize that bringing that 17-pounder gun to bear on targets is a very difficult proposition, and it's all down to the terrible gun constraints of the AT8. We're looking now on tanks.gg. We can see that the traverses left and right of this gun are 7 degrees, which makes for a very limited field of fire. But it's the gun depression and elevation that are the worst features of this machine, I think. -5 degrees depression is not good, of course, but the elevation of only 7 degrees is the worst thing about this machine by far. The amount of times I've been sitting on flat ground and I see a target on a hill, not even a big hill, just a slight rise ahead of me, and I cannot bring the gun up that high to shoot them. It is such a frustrating experience playing this machine. It really is. But unfortunately the pain doesn't end there for the AT8 as we now look at the armor profile here on tanks.gg. That 203mm, which is still quite good at tier 6, is in two sections on the front of the hull. The upper superstructure here, this flat portion surrounding the gun, and the, I guess you'd call it the beak of the hull down on the bottom. The rest of that surrounding armor is quite good too, very well sloped even if it's not as thick. But we can see the problems immediately. We can see a huge set of cupolas here, machine gun ports and commander's cupola above the hull. 100mm is terrible, though it is rounded. And on the, the right of the vehicle, even worse. What is this section here doing? It doesn't exist on the left hand side of the vehicle, but on the right, on the opposite side of the gun, which is slightly off center, that armor is absolutely abysmal. Looking at under 80 mils of armor, and even on the side, even though the left hand side of the vehicle has that 101mm of armor, which is listed, the left hand side, for whatever reason, I don't know who designed this vehicle, but it's only 50 mil, so terribly weak vehicle from the right, and this dictates how this thing should be played. So let's look at it from above. We can see the gun is slightly to the left of the vehicle, and all the weak points are on the right. The biggest commander's cupola there is just right of the midline, and that terrible superstructure armor is all on the right as well. So what you should be doing, or at least trying to do, it is very hard, and I couldn't find the best gameplay to demonstrate this, but what you should be trying to do is locate flat areas of the map with good fields of fire that allow you to hide the right hand side of the hull behind some hard cover, say building or at least a crate or something that's going to take a hit for you. It's not easy to do, but this is really all you can hope to do and achieve in the AT8 to maximize that armor. Otherwise people are just going to look for those weak spots, and because they're so big and obvious, they are going to find them. So I've just got the one gameplay to show off in the AT8. This was shot back during the Halloween event of this year. I'm with Pimp Daddy XR in his Churchill 7. And we are on Oasis Palms, not a map you would expect to see the AT8 do well in All those rolling dunes out there on the right are the worst possible terrain for this machine. No hard cover to hide behind, lots of easy terrain for medium tanks to flank you in, and you cannot get shots away out there. Those rolling dunes mean it's very difficult to get into a position with such a limited gun elevation and depression, and you've got to come all the way over in most cases to get shots away, which exposes your commander's cupola first and then the weak points on the hull and superstructure before you can take a shot. So terrible conditions out there for the AT-8, which is why I'm going into town here, which you don't see happen often, but in this particular game looks like my team is doing the same thing. So I'm going to try and set up here beside this building, try and hide the weak points to the right of the hull. It's not going to be the easiest thing to do, but make the best of it and then get some shots away at these targets on the far hill. VK31P, first target spotted. Move now to the T49. It's a good machine to shoot in any tank. You can see here the good rate of fire of the 17 pounder, putting lots of shots away. Hold still, VK. See, I'm not quite protected enough. That probably hit my cupola on the top, but the VK makes the mistake of moving out in the open. And this is not a bad position, lots of targets. Even if I'm not whittling one target down, still putting out a consistent amount of damage, but opportunities have dried up and the bulk of the reds are in this little depression in the corner. So move now to back up Pimp. Bang through the turret of the IS, and now I suffer a bit of a rush of blood to the head here trying to back up Pimp. Taking on two German machines which have a very good combined DPM, and I'm getting shot from both sides here and trying to use the wreck of the IS now to protect myself from the flat panzer, but you can see he's able to hit the commander's cupola from where he is. Oh, just bounced the Tiger. And then I'm saved by the rest of my team. And that is a quick game, all done in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You can see in those close engagements, there's really just no way to hide the weak points in your armor from enemies. So second class badge there, Top Gun and Spartan, 1600 damage in that short amount of time, with about the same for Pimp. Not a bad little game. But that's about as good as it got for me for the AT-8. I did not like that machine at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure I free XP'd my way through the second half of that grind to the AT-7, which is why you should hold on to your free XP at all times. Don't use it for machines that you're playing well in, or machines that you're just bored with. Save it for the crap. Save it for the AT-8. And so moving up to tier 7, we've got the AT-7, which is in many regards the same as the AT-8, but there are a few key differences in here. The mobility characteristics are much the same. That 20 km per hour top speed remains the standard until tier 10 in this line, and it's got that 203mm of stated frontal armor with 101 around the sides and rear. That's still quite good armor, but at tier 7 it's not going to hold up quite as well as beforehand. We don't see tier 9s anymore with the pref matchmaker that's just come out, but even the tier 8 top guns will find it quite easy to pen that thickness of armor. The saving grace is that it's quite well sloped in parts, a very complex shaped machine. The gun is upgraded to a 20 pounder, which is much the same as the 17 pounder before it. It has the same kind of play style. It's got low alpha damage, but in all other regards it's a very well performing weapon, which means that it specializes in keeping sustained firepower on a target. Very good at keeping them tracked, as we'll see in some gameplay coming up. The big issue again though with the AT-7 is in the limited gun constraints. The only change to the AT-8 is a whole 1 degree extra of gun elevation, which means it's still quite a painful machine to play on anything but the flattest terrain, though by the time you get to this machine you are probably used to playing that playstyle, so it doesn't feel quite so bad on the AT-7. And finally, looking at the armor profile of the AT-7, we can see that that frontal 203mm is quite well distributed across the superstructure and the front of the hull, although it does again have those big weaknesses up on the roof, those pimples The commander's cupola is enormous, and those little machine gun cupolas as well, quite weak. And the problem is that they are centrally located, so even if you wiggle the hole like this, their position doesn't deviate much, and it's still an easy target for your enemies to hit if they catch you out in the open. A saving grace though is that the gun is positioned, you can see, all the way to the right of the vehicle. Look how far it sits. So if you can find some good hard cover to sit behind on nice flat ground, because the gun constraints are so bad, you only present to your enemies the far quarter of the superstructure. The tracks there take up a lot of what the enemy would see, and the superstructure itself curves away on that far right hand side, so it's actually quite thick there. So if you can find positions where you can take advantage of that, this becomes a unique and quite strong machine. Difficult to do though, and I'm not too sure how well I'm going to be able to demonstrate that in this upcoming gameplay, but let's move into that right now. This first game on Temple with the Unknown from UQ is a tier 7 match. We're going to move up into the town obviously, because that open ground is not good terrain for these machines, the AT8 and the AT7. Stick to the hard cover, guys. It will save your ass. Not too sure what I'm going to do about the replay shot on my computer, on the iMac. I'm going to try and blow up the map and increase the size of the UI, point out the key points where I can, add arrows to armor changes, that kind of thing. I know a lot of you have stated that it's quite difficult to see what's going on with the UI so small. The Unknown is in the SP1C. I've just unlocked that thing. It's pretty rough when you don't have the top engine and the top tracks, but I can tell it's going to be a good fun tank to drive once I do get it upgraded. Now, what are we doing in this map? What's that AT7 doing? He's not in view at the moment, so I take a risk here driving out in the open to engage this T-43 who's come all the way into our rear already. You can see I'm running an earlier mod of mine. That target locked symbol for the auto aim isn't sitting centrally. The D's kind of half cut off. T-43 runs away. He didn't like that match, and looks like he's heading back towards cap. And look out, AT7 face off. He lands a shot, and I somehow missed the commander's cupola and move. You can tell, trying to use that building there at hard cover just to present the armor in the way I was talking about. But a cheeky reappears, and take a few swings at him before he backs away. There's also some targets to the right that I need to be mindful of. Try and engage the AT7 again though, who's distracted. Yes, there's a hit. He misses. SU-152 derping around. Looks like the KB3 and the IS up the back there are busy. What's that SU doing? Out in the open again. There's a poorly aimed shot though in his flank. He rushes his return shot, and you can see the armor there holding up quite well against that 122mm, which only has 175mm pen for standard AP rounds. Targets behind me, but they're all down in the low ground. And looking for shots. Yep, here we go. The Unknown's run wide, distracting that SU-152, and he does not know how to use cover. Sitting there out in the open. Back to the AT7, who has run out of friends. He's taking shots from the front. Time for a 20k per hour flanking maneuver through the cap. Looks like he's got wind of that and he's trying to make a run for it. There is no outrunning a Sperrpanzer 1C though. Lock him in. Through the corner of the armor there, which is 200mm thick, but was not well rounded from where I hit it. So there's a kill. Another kill for Unknown, who's on 4 now. There's only 2 tanks left. This is very good terrain up here on the temple for the AT7. Don't have to worry about the gun depression on the elevation. Try and lock in the auto aim here, swing around, get the killing blow on the Cheery. Whack. Nicely done. So, a second class, Crucial and BIA. 2.3k damage, just under 3k for unknown. 16 shots fired, not bad accuracy on that round. 35,000 credits and just under 3k XP. Second replay is a tough one here on Fort Despair. This is obviously a couple of patches old, this one. It's a tier 9 battle, which you wouldn't see anymore, thankfully. With Bushka in his dragon. And we're going to head out right. I'm going to sit in the bushes. Camp bush. With the gun position on the right, that alley of death there on the left would not be a good route for the AT7. Have to expose all the left hand side of the armor before we could get the gun to bear on targets. So I'm going to sit out here on this flat ledge, which is a good position for a machine with such limited gun constraints, and see what Bushka spots. A couple of targets up there ahead. He's got T44 here as backup, and that is a problem. T54 and a Type 59 have rushed in. Now T44 is in trouble, but he's giving as good as it gets. And this Type 59 is going down. There we go, killing blow, but I'm not going to be able to save him. T54 has come back. And even though I've got the adrenaline on, trying to make use of the good DPM and fast rate of fire of the AT7. Ah! It's not going to be enough. We lose the T44. Bushka's in deep. Issue 100M1 Tier 7 Tank Destroyer of New Line is coming as backup. Tracked in the open. Will we get this guy before he backs away? Oh, that was unlucky not to track him again. Yeah, he slips back. And I am spotted. Pull back. Who is firing HE at me? And where did that shot go? IS-6 now out in the open. Bushka in all sorts of trouble. Somehow still has most of his health left though. Engine fire on the IS-6. That is good news. I want to finish off that very wounded T-54. Is he out in the open? Yes, he is. Another bounce. Come on. Pretty sure I'm using one of the upgraded 17 pounders in this replay. I don't think it's the 20 pounder. Yes. Bushka gets the IS-6. Looking for the gun elevation and depression to hit that T-54, but he slips away again. Issue 100M1 out in the open now. Targets everywhere, but we're winning at 5-2. This game is definitely ours. And now we have a situation where the AT7 performs quite poorly in that last rush to clean up the enemies. You really don't do any rushing in this thing. You just gotta hope they come to you. Try and chase a few last cheeky shots at this T-43, but the gun is not having it. I've got a lot of misses in this match. One more hit on that guy, and I would be very surprised if I make it to that SU 100M1. Doom Turtle is approaching, and he gets the kill. Just a first class for that game, coming out on top of XP though, 2.4k damage. Some very handy spotting there by Bushka, 24 shots fired, only 15 penetrations. Lots of rush shots in that one. 25,000 credits and 1600 XP. Himmelsdorf for the final battle. Carrick is back for this one in the Comet. Good to see Carrick in game again. I call all left. Let's see if we can't get the whole team to rush down the train yard. Flat Panzer there, sporting my winter digital camo, looking sharp. All left, damn it. Himmelsdorf, definitely a map where the team that commits to one side in force has the upper hand, I think. Teams that split down the middle often get isolated from one another and have their weaker half overwhelmed. T-43-85, first target spotted, not making any attempt to run away. This is the wrong position next to this building to hide my weak points, but I've got far superior DPM to that guy, so try and take him out. But look out, Comet to the right. What to do? Swing around now, target the Comet. And this is a team full of guys that take no evasive action. Bot central. Look how much time I had to aim for that guy's tracks. Permatrack now. I engage adrenaline. Easily whittle that guy down with the help of my allies. KV2 next. Good position. He fires. First tracking shot. He repairs that. Second tracking shot. He is stuck on the reload. Third tracking shot. Through the hole. Probably should have tried and tracked him again, but he is not going to get away. Just like that, it is for love. You can see that the Reds have split up, and like I said, their force that engaged our entire force was easily overrun, and now it's just a clean-up operation. Try and swing around here and grab this KV-1S. Look for a tracking shot again, but he stops and I hit his front plate. Tracked. And this angle quite easily. HE round. Oh well. Boom, and just like that, the game is over. So the AT7 and the AT8, not my favourite machines in game, but you've got to get through them if you want those high tier tank destroyers. Thanks for watching guys, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace.